once again, in terms of the current situation that most children are in, here approaching the fall of 2020, how do you expect that this online or virtual education will affect twice exceptional children?
Well, that's really been a lot of discussion within the field of especially the field of special education, because we know that there are so many services that that group of children really need, that's really more one-on-one or hands-on. But again, most states do have, in effect, uh, guidance for the schools and for the teachers as to how they are to operate and how they are to provide that services. And that is, those services are provided on a continuum. And so for those kids that require, for example, if you have a child that's blind, then the school districts are still required to provide Braille for those kids. And so, and provide that in however the parent and the school have decided that they are going to deliver that. So that is a concern still. I know that some states are still talking about, once we move through our pandemic, will they be compensatory services that's provided? And compensatory services, or those services that for whatever reason the school districts were unable to provide during a regular or traditional school year. But I'm very optimistic, and I know that most of our parents are very informed and involved. And so I'm not expecting there to be a lot of regression during this time.
That would be very good. For this twice exceptional child, I guess you're working on both ends. You really don't want to restrict the child's ability to learn and grow in their strong areas, and you want to try to improve their performance in areas where there are challenges or a little weaker.
Yes.
How do you maintain that balance? How do you,
That is such a good question. And there again, you start with just recognizing and identifying what that disability is or what that challenge is. As we recall from our diagram, it can be in any areas. And most states recognize at least 13 categories of disability. So again, that requires, in my mind, continuous professional development for teachers. And also, as parents, we can advocate for our child and making sure that our school districts and our states have credentialed programs and teachers to serve those children. I know that North Carolina does have do require their teachers that teach gifted children to be certified, and so that's definitely a must. But in order for those kids to not fall through the crack, it takes informed educators to know what to look for, and then to know the process by what to do in order to try to not let that area of challenge overshadow the giftedness.
Okay, thank you.
And I'm sorry. And I also just really want to stress that you cannot overemphasize the importance of your parents being advocates. In my last consultant position, after reading your book, as a matter of fact, that was a requirement for my parent group of exceptional learners, because just about everything that was described in your book, those parents were also experiencing as parents. And so our school purchased books for every classroom teacher, and that was such a big help in helping them to say, aha, so if Johnny is not paying attention over there, it's not because he doesn't want to learn. There may be some attention deficit going on. And it was such a comfort for my parent group, because they could read and see themselves in your book. And so I just needed to just share that, because I just really recommend it for every parent that is not sure and having some questions. I think that they can find the answers in that book, in your book.
Oh, thank you very much, Charlene. We're referring to the book that I co-authored with my wife, Falling
Yes,
Through the Ceiling,
yes,
our ADHD family memoir. We'll talk more
yes,
about that at the
yes.
end. But I do have a couple of questions from the chat.
Okay.
The first one is, are the resources that were available in school be available in the virtual learning or hybrid learning environment?
The question is whether or not it will be.
Yes.
Yes, it should be. If the teachers are back, if school is back in session, and the schools have either decided that they're going all virtual, the reading teacher still is back. And so the speech pathologist is still back. The school counselor, the school psychological examiner is still back. So just because we're doing virtual learning, it still does not negate the parent's ability to request a referral for testing, for example. So yes, those resources should be available.
Great. So as a devil's advocate to that question, if those resources that the child requires to be successful are not being provided in a satisfactory manner to the parent, what is their recourse?
Well, again, you know, as I say to parents all the time, we all want what's best for our child, but school districts generally are not required. They're required to provide what's appropriate. And so again, I think that takes building a communication link between your classroom teacher as well as your principal, because the principal ultimately is responsible for whatever happens or doesn't happen in the building. But you know, if you can go in and visit the school, visit your classroom, your child's classroom, if possible. And so I wouldn't take no for an answer, because as we've discussed, before, every service that's provided for a child, whether it's gifted or whether it's under the umbrella of special needs, we wouldn't have those services were it not for parents advocating for their children. So that's what I stress. Parents, you just don't take no for an answer in getting the question answered that you have for your child.
Thank you. Yeah, and that's an area that we at Taste of Success and Able Tables Media have taken to heart, that we really are in the job of teaching parents to be better advocates for their children,
Yes.
to be more aware of what's going on in the school, and really participating as a part of that, building that educational village for their child, which we talked
Right.
about in our first table talk. So one final question that came to the chat. Can these twice exceptional children be homeschooled?
Well, I think that each state have their own homeschool policy. Most uh, homeschool states that do recognize homeschool, what I would say to the parents is first of all, find out from your school district what that policy is. I do know that in most states, there are curriculums that have been approved for homeschooling. That is very crucial because um, you, I know of it. I know of incidents where parents have homeschooled their children, and they did not either meet the number of homeschool hours in a particular subject area. And so when they were ready to transfer maybe back into the school setting, the school did not accept that homeschool time. So what I would recommend to parents and say to parents, before you homeschool, just make sure you know what your school and your state policies are regarding homeschooling.
Dr. Luster, we really would like to thank you for the information you've provided, and we know that this information will be greatly appreciated by our audience. And again, I thank you for your time and your effort, and we hope we can